Welcome to the channel where today we're going to talk about a topic I don't always talk about, but I did promise you guys I would bring it up and share with you. And I want to talk about today 5 of my top most noticed trends or behaviors that I watch myself and others go through that actually is killing our astrology life. So I wanted to talk about this and share some perspective with you today. And also, it's interesting because if you feel a little rattled or you feel right, you feel like I'm talking to you, I might be talking to you. Certainly I know as a person who has done some of these things exactly what it is. So today I want to talk about the 5 most popular mistakes that are killing your astrology style. They're also killing your astrology practice, how you use it in your life. And I just want to say, I have been a professional astrologer for 10 years. Okay, and I have been here on YouTube and really in the industry strong, a part of the group and seeing clients, taking classes, teaching classes, working with people on summits, all of these things, right? So my point is that I have some receipts. I just, as my children say, you have receipts, Mom. I have some receipts. I have proof of what I'm talking about today. So I know that these are some of the mistakes that we're making over and over and over again as it relates to interacting with astrology. And these mistakes that I want to share with you today, I feel like I want to share because I think it's just some truth. So this is an intervention. I'm having an intervention with you today. Even if you're watching this 5 years from now, we're having an intervention right now, okay? So please just let's buckle in and let's get adjusted. But before we get started, I do want to remind you the Astrology Busy Book is out and for sale. Gets you offline, gets you learning your astrology keywords, right? Getting you in here, getting these in your mind so that you know them, you understand them, you can breathe them in as you're interacting with your astrology because it's really, really important. So you can find that in the description box down below. I will make sure you have a link. I always love when we interact together, and I wanted to create something that got you offline and was enjoyable, but gave you the practice of astrology. So you can absolutely check that out. By next week, you guys will also have a link underneath this video to my new ebook, Decluttering Your Astrology Practice and Finding Your Own Style. So watch for that. The link will go right underneath this video next week, okay? All right, so let's just get into these mistakes. And remember, we're just all friends here. This is our soulmate tribe. This is why we're talking about this. And I know that Black Friday is on the way, so some of these things may be some things that come up for you, okay? So just emotional seatbelts clicked for just a minute here. I made notes too because I don't want to forget anything. Okay, so first and foremost, my first tip and my first acknowledgement in our astrology practice that may be killing your astro practice is that you are not planning your purchases. Astrology is beautiful. It's a craft. It's one of the natural crafts in the world. We use this to call to our ancestors, to call back to the sky. It is beautiful, but it is also an industry, okay? And we are not planning our purchases. Now, one of the things I want to share with you about not planning our purchases, I think about this. How it used to go for me is I think about even being a teenager, and I was a mall girl, right? I was a mall girl. If however I felt, I went to the mall, right? Because I could just go buy something and I could get that dopamine hit and I would buy it. I was like a certified little mall rat. And then as I got a little bit older, I became a certified astro rat, right? So if there was an astrology something, I would buy it. Like I would just buy it. And there was no plan to it. I would just buy it, right? So that's a mistake, right? That is not the wisest way to interact with our astrology, especially when we're talking about our budget, right? But the other thing is that I would buy astrology stuff, and it was like I had a dream life around astrology, like what I was going to do with that, what it was going to teach me, how this was going to change my life, right? Like how I was actually going to interact with that thing that I bought, that book or that whatever, or that course, right? And it wasn't actually real, and I could see other semblance of this even in my life for a long time. I even had a dream closet, you know what I mean, where I would buy an outfit and I had a vision of where I was going to wear it and what I was going to be doing and even who I was going to be talking to, and it didn't match my reality because I was not going to any of those places. So this is why I say not shopping and not engaging with our craft intentionally is one of the number one biggest holdups and mistakes I think that we're making that actually kill our astrology practice. Now, that what has turned up the heat on that just a little bit is, of course, we're in the digital revolution, so everything is like online. So somebody's popping up a course for this or this or this, and you know what I mean, and it's just like we see it and we buy it and we get excited. We have this dream life about how we're going to be using how we're going to be using this course on Hygeia when we don't even really know how our sun signs work, right? Like, so it's this space of making sure that as a person who's engaging with not just the astrology, but whatever it is that you're doing, but we're focused on astrology here, that you're using your dollars and you're using your energy well, right? Because the last thing you want is to have not planned a purchase. You saw somebody launched a course or they had a flash sale, and I do these things too. It's an industry. I run a business. When it's time to have a sale, when it's time to put a course out, we put it out. But do you need it? Like, what is your intention behind the course that you're taking? And are you really going to fulfill that intention with this course, right? So this is something I want you to think about as you're moving forward, because this could definitely be a mistake that you're seeing it or you're seeing somebody else talk about it, and so you're like, I gotta have it too, right? So we do wanna watch that. And here's my big thought on this that I have acquired over this last few years is that if we're not careful, we will get into the buying, whether it's one-on-one sessions, whether it's courses, whether it's books, whatever it is, we're buying. And having more doesn't make you better at your astrology practice, right? Having more doesn't make you an astrologer, doesn't make you more informed. So we gotta really be watching this, and this is my number one mistake that I think we make when we're out here in the astral world, and it's absolutely killing our practices, okay? So just, wherever you're at, it's Sunday, turn to your neighbor, turn to your friend, grab a mirror and say, having more doesn't make my astrology better. Like, share it with your neighbor. Okay? Is anybody else guilty of this, or is this just me? It cannot just be me. Okay, all right. Here is my number 2 mistake that I think really is killing our astrology practices, our astrology knowledge, our style, is not decluttering what we already have, right? Not decluttering. And this is a process that I think is really important as we stay in the astrological game, is we skip this step, and it's like, just let me add another book because so-and-so who I love wrote it. But we didn't declutter the astro books and the the astro courses that are stored on our hard drives. We haven't decluttered what we already have. So it's very hard to define what we're looking for with astrology, what kind of astrologer maybe even we are when we haven't decluttered. It's just so much that's all in one place. Now, the other thing about taking an honest inventory, I think, of the astro collection of things that we have is that it saves us money, right? You're thinking, oh my God, somebody's flashing up that class on Chiron or on the moon, but you've got 6 courses and 2 books already on that. Do you need to buy another one? If we are decluttering and we're being honest about what we might have everything we already need at our fingertips to really get into the depth and the ushy gushy of understanding that moon and how we work with it and how we use it. As practitioners as well, I think it's really important that we declutter, especially if you're not clear on exactly what your personal astrological style is as a professional, right? We've got to declutter, and I think it is a highly valuable spiritual process as well. So when I say declutter, I don't just mean walk into your office and get rid of all of your stuff, but it's go through those digital courses. What are you signed up for even coming forward in 2023, and do some Marie Kondo level cleaning out and decluttering. When you think about this course, does it bring you joy? Does it lift you? Are you motivated by this teacher, or is it something to do that's actually distracting you from doing something else? Do you already have a course on the moon and the sun that you haven't even finished in the first place? Like, declutter. And I'm telling you too, like this, I'm speaking, listen, I'm a Taurus, okay? I'm a Taurus. So I can tell you that if you've got astrology things and they're spread all over your computer, that is the equivalent of having astrology classes and courses and books in your closet, in your partner's closet, under the baby's bed, right? Like, how much astro stuff do you have, and are you engaging it? So I promise you, I promise you with my whole heart as a student and a teacher, if you're not decluttering, you are not giving yourself the advantage of being excited about what you have to learn with, to study with, to grow with. You will not be giving yourself the advantage of walking into your office, walking to your computer, and being excited and being like, oh my God, I'm going to study Chiron today, and I know what this means for me, or I'm going to learn what it means for me, right? You're not excited because it's too cluttered. So I want you to give yourself the advantage of joy and pleasure around your astrology practice, and also give yourself the space for depth, not just width. We can have a lot of stuff up here and know a little about a lot, and that's not always particularly useful. We want a bit more depth, right? Especially if you're studying it for yourself. Okay, that horse is beat, and I'm guilty, right? I've been guilty. I've been there. So let's talk about my third mistake that I think is killing our astro style, okay? So this is fast courses, right? And listen, I have a lot of Mercury in my chart, and it's the Gemini Mercury kind, right? And so I don't like to do a lot of things for a very, very long time. I don't enjoy courses that are like, I don't. That's for me, right? But in the challenge here that I think that we find ourselves is we're taking these fast courses. 5 weeks to learn whatever. 5 weeks for this. 10 days for this. 10 days for this, right? And I want to be clear. Like, I love fast stuff, and for me and in my chart it works very, very well. But the challenge is that I want to say the mistake is only having fast courses, right? Only having fast material. And I really want to emphasize the word only here, okay? Because it's good. It's like a balanced diet, right? It's like a balanced diet. And the fast stuff is the sugar, right? And I like a lot of sugar. I really do enjoy. I actually really like a lot of salt too. But so you got to have some fast stuff, and you're in there and you're learning and you're getting and you're breathing it in, but then you're like breathing it into that DNA level and putting it into some practical application, and that is gonna get you do get a lot of width from that, because you can learn something at a pretty wide space, right? But we also want to have some longer study courses or longer study programs, right? Something that can really give you time to sit with it and get more depth. And you have to remember that in the industry of astrology, it's still an industry, and people are going to be turning over their inventory. They're going to be turning over, it's I'm not using this anymore, let's get rid of it. And I promote and support the sale of astrology learning courses, teachings, all of it. I support it. What I'm offering for you to consider is which one of these purchases is best for you, so it's not just a mistake killing your practice or killing your growth with astrology, but actually can be something really good, right? Because you have to remember, in the big game of life, in advertising, in selling and buying things, you want to be the wise consumer, so you're not just a target, right? So, and we've got a lot of algorithms out here that can figure out what you've looked at, send you something, and play for your emotions. So I just want you to be really deliciously wise with what you're doing, okay? And we'll have a highly emotional response, right? We'll have a highly emotional response to that. And before you know, you're enrolled in 6 courses that you're never going to take because you don't actually have time to take that course. So, but remember, if you're shopping, with my first mistake, if you're avoiding that, if you're planning your purchase, you're shopping with intention, you've set an intention for what you'd like to learn, where you'd like to grow, what you want to know in your astrology practice, then this is, you can start to avoid this and have your own inner discernment about where your dollar, your time, your energy needs to go. And I think giving up the dollar is the easy part. It is about what's going to take your time and your attention and who you're going to let speak into your life. Okay, let's move on to my next mistake that I think is killing our astro practices, and that is, and I'm passionate about this one. I'm really passionate about this one. I'm only going to stand on half of my soapbox, okay? I'll leave the other half for someone else. But it is going out, paying full price for these courses, whether they're fast, whether they're long term, paying for readings, paying for sessions, paying for memberships, and then not using your astrology. It's not good. It's not good. Knowing a lot of astrology doesn't make you a good astrologer, even if you're only using it for yourself, right? We gotta go take the course and then start talking, start writing, start investigating. What does this look like in my chart? What does this look like in my practice? Because if not, the trap is to jump in again on another course because we haven't planned it, or another session, or booking another session, right? And I haven't actually investigated, what does this mean in my life? I'm not actually practicing what I do know. I'm just adding more in. So you see how very quickly, from not planning the purchase and being intentional, and then we're having decluttered, you know what I mean? And then we're over here just taking the next fast class. These all build together, and we do this. And I'm saying we because I am in the tribe too, my friends, but I mean this one so seriously. Not practicing what you already know. Use what you have. If you're planning on being an astrologer, or you have an astrology practice, what you learned, are you talking about it? Are you sharing it? Because if you want to learn it and you want to know if you know it, you got to talk about it. You got to teach it, right? We got to teach it. We got to come out here. And also, once we start talking, start sharing, we start putting it into practical daily application, this is how we find out what we know and what we don't know. This will be how you know. Right? Because today, if you tell me you've been studying the moon for 6 months and I ask you where the moon is at in the sky, what sign it's in, and you can't tell me, I'm going to be telling you that that course you took was probably either cheap and didn't teach you, or you're not practicing. Right? Because remember, also in astrology, what we want to create is, yes, the craft, and offer service to ourselves and our lives, because when we know better, we can have more compassion. When we're informed, we can have more compassion and participate in the world differently, right? But we also need to be participants. So if you're having astro sessions with someone and you're not doing any of the work, you're not filling your half of the deal. right? Because the astrologer is just an astrologer, another human who's using a craft to help counsel you or advise you, but you got to be participating too. So, what do you know about your astrology? And that doesn't mean you have to go out and take 6 courses. Not everybody who engages astrology wants to be an astrologer or even wants to know, right? Sometimes they just want the feedback on what's going on with timing, but being a conscious participant in using what you know is really, really important. I cannot tell you how big of a deal this is. Okay, soapbox away. Sorry, that one got me a little on it. You know what I mean? Now, here's another thing I just want to point out in kind of conjunction with this. If we are decluttering, being intentional and using what we have, oftentimes what can happen is you find an astrologer that you resonate with, whether it's just for a counsel and you're doing chart readings, solar returns, going through them and letting them be like a guide in your life, or a course or a book. Oftentimes when we're actually using it, we get clear on who to be following. And then when you do that, oh my gosh, I've had people reach out to me who've said, I've been following you for 5 years and you explain this the way that I think I can understand. Do you offer seasonal specials? Do you offer courses in this? Do you offer one-on-one training, right? So you can even, once you figure out where you want to be, maybe you need an astrologer, maybe you need a mentor, it gives you a cue and a clue to who to go talk to and see how you can invest and engage with them, which, I mean, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so my last mistake that I think truly is killing our astrology practice right now is shopping the astro trends. And this one I thought was really interesting because, I know we buy fashion trends and stuff like that. And let me just tell you, when we think about what is available for us to see or to consume today, right? We have to realize our limitation in the human condition, right? We are prone to the sparkly, and even if you feel like you don't do that, somewhere something catches your attention and it is your version of sparkly, right? So we want to avoid buying the trend just because it's a trend. And let me tell you what, I have talked about this with Stephen Forrest. I have talked about this with Rick Levine. I have talked about this with astrologers who've been doing this for a long time that you may not even know. And this real idea that because it's bright and shiny and loud and sparkly, that it is for you. No, friend. Maybe not, right? I do a lot of YouTube, I podcast, I speak a lot, I teach a lot, right? I am big in the sparkly out here, and this is how I was built and designed and what it's made for, but it doesn't mean I'm your teacher, right? You want to be looking for who's your teacher. Don't go with me because I got suggested to you. Thank you. I mean, for those of you who are, I love it. If you're here and this is the tribe and I'm your person, I want to be your person, damn it, But don't just go there because there's 225 views on that video, right? Listen, see if you're being informed. Don't just shop and buy and purchase and see courses and do all of this because of the trend, right? A trend that will not do you. Now, here's the other thing. Here is my other thing about the trend is truly trend topics as well, right? Okay, like this year, more astrologers started to talk about Aries, okay? So this became a real big deal talking about Aries. So of course, all of these courses went up and it's fantastic. If it's time in your practice to advance and to widen out a little bit and you're ready to go learn about Aries and what this means and how does this impact your life and your chart, oh my God, go learn about Aries and please tell everybody teaching the Aries courses that I sent you. Okay, because I want you to know about Aries. But if you don't even have your basics down or you don't know why you would be studying Aries, don't go for the trend. it will end up in the space where we have to declutter. So plan your purchase. Be intentional so that I love trends, but we want to be smart with how we are consuming and engaging, right? I think this is really important. So I just want to, do you guys remember the phase of life of apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur? Do you remember that? Does anybody remember that? I want to just say I'm saying this to you because the other day I had these pink neon stiletto boots with the fur, and they had laces up the front. Listen, you couldn't tell me anything. Okay, you couldn't even talk to me in those shoes. You really could not. And the fact is, I was really very cute, right? And I had my apple bottom jeans and my boots with the fur. And it was a trend. Nobody's wearing that anymore. Who is wearing that anymore? Those boots, I found them in the bottom of a bin because I was decluttering, and they're going to go to someplace else that's not here, right? Because the trend moves on. And before you know it, Eris is going to be at the bottom of the freaking course collection yet again, and you have not grown with it, right? So, okay, listen. I just wanted to do this live today. I was going to make a video, but I wanted to do it live and engage you and just talk to you and give you some things to think about, because I'm telling you, Black Friday's coming up, and even I myself, it's the end of the year. It's time for me to launch my courses and my groups for 2023. And do I want to see absolutely all of you in there? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I want to see you in there if it's time for you to be in there and invest with me and for us to grow together, because I want you to be a smart, present participant in what we're doing. But if that is you, do I want to see you? Hell yeah, I want to see you. And I want to tell you everything I know about astrology, and I want to help you build your business. I want to help you this year understand money in a way that I've come to understand it, right? I want all of that for all of us. So hopefully, this has given you a little something to think about in my 5 mistakes that I think are killing your astro practice. If you relate to any of these, please put it in the comment section down below, because I know even as I was going through them, I found myself feeling convicted. I was like, ooh, why am I saying that to myself? But it's just true. So, all right, my absolutely beautiful friends, please pick up your astrology busy book if it's for you. Join me in the courses that are coming in 2023. If you are not on my email list, please go to stormiegrace.com, join my email list. That is where the good stuff comes out first, in my Patreon group and in my email list. And all of the 2023 goodnesses are getting ready to come out. So it'll be in the December newsletter. So if you are not on my email list, please join it. And if I annoy the pants out of you, you can get off it later, but at least find out about the specials. All right, my beautiful friends, I love you a ton, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.